Thank you, everyone, for joining. First, today, I'm going to talk a little bit how this add-on works. You already have a bit of introduction on the text, but I might as well iterate a bit on that, on how it works. Then I will talk about why we even created this add-on and why we use it ourselves as well. A bit of benefits that I, as a team lead and project manager, how I benefit from it. So we can get started now directly. Perfect. First of all, in front of us here on the screen, we have a summary of a meeting. You can see that we have a short summary on top. We have some key takeaways. We have some things to do. And then ChatGPT has added some extra text on the bottom that I don't really care about. It's those sections that are the most important. And this was just handed to me, so I didn't even need to take any notes during the meeting. So this is enough for me to remember the main points of the call and what I need to do next and ahead of the next call. And that is the main value of this. So basically what we noticed that Omnitas, or a colleague of mine noticed, is that it's a bit of admin to keep up with your notes while you're having a meeting. And also you want to stay focused on speaking to the person and not be having this split vision where you need to take pauses in the discussion to take proper notes, and then you need to maybe take notes at the same time as you're speaking, and you're not focusing on one or the other, and both of them don't go that really well. And we thought that, okay, but how do we solve this? We already have Google Meet as a meeting tool, which can record calls, and we have the meeting recordings. They end up in a folder on our Google Drive. Perfect. The only problem is that nobody can go through a 1-hour meeting and take note of the action points afterwards either. That takes a bit of time. So that's why we thought that, okay, we can extract it automatically somehow and put it in the right note-taking place, so that not just the person who had a meeting, but everyone in the organization can stay up to date what's happening on the client. And that's how this meeting assistant, how the idea, at least, of the meeting assistant came to be. And then we used ChatGPT and a bit of make skills to make it happen. So all I need to do nowadays is that I make sure to press the record button. And then this text, for me, I have it so it syncs daily. It looks like yesterday's meeting, and all the meetings I had yesterday, it looks at each night, and it puts a summary of each of them, and it outputs this text either in the other transcriptions item, where I have put it now for demo purposes, or, which is a really nice thing, is that most of the time we can actually find who did we speak with by looking at our calendar, and that person has an email address, and that email address contains a domain, and that domain is tied to a company in our company registry in Monday, and therefore we can put all meeting summaries right on the company info card. So it's transparent also for all my colleagues. So it's after the setup, it is a very easy thing to just remember to press record, and that's it. And it works also with Zoom or with Microsoft Teams. I mean, any meeting tool that can record meetings. It doesn't really matter. And then I have, so this one is a scheduled scenario. It's to run daily, but I can run it once and there should be a similar summary appearing in here after a few minutes. But the whole idea is that also if I'm having a meeting with a person I haven't met before, then I can even have a new contact created, and maybe even a company created in a company registry. And then I put the meeting on that company. So it kind of also automates a bit of my contact registry in Monday. So all you need to decide is, do I need to run this daily, which takes a few more operations, or if I run it, if I run it hourly, which takes a few more operations, or if I run it daily. And then I can put it in the update field, as you see in front of you here, or I can put it in a Monday doc, so I can have a full history of the client in one place. I could also, if I wanted to, configure it so that there are action items landing in my personal to-do list in Monday. But I thought that it was a bit overkill for how I use Monday and meeting tools and so on. So I skipped that part. And also I want to be able to send, for example, if I have a to-do here, set up standardized columns, then maybe I want to send that to one of my teammates instead of having it land automatically in my personal to-do. So that's why I skipped it. Good. So what I noticed as a main benefit is that I never miss an action point again. So you know how you have maybe 5 meetings in one day, one of those days. A main benefit of this meeting assistant is that you always get a list of what you need to do afterwards. So you will never miss on actioning on the meeting. And that, of course, leads to a more professional relationship. The client, they notice that you don't miss on action points that you speak of. Maybe they have even forgot about it, but they notice that you remember it, and then, oh yeah, we agreed on that. So it's quite a nice feature. Another thing is that we also see the action points that the client needs to do. So we can actually keep ownership of their tasks by asking them, maybe after a few days, hey, we talked about having this done in 3 days. Have you managed to fill it in, or do you need some extra time? And we're also maximizing productivity. So we will not talk about the same thing in 2 different meetings, because in between, both parties forgot whatever we were supposed to do in between. That never happens anymore. So quite a lot of great stuff about the never missing an action point again. Additionally, I'm always kept up to date nowadays from each client. So ahead of each call, I can quickly scroll through and kind of quick read a few important bits and pieces from previous meetings, since I have the whole meeting history of my client saved in one space in Monday on the client's company card. So I can read a summary of the last meeting before the meeting I'm going to have. And also sometimes can get a list of prep item, like the to-do as a prep actions to do before the meeting. But I can also scroll through meetings way before, just to get some ideas. What if I bring up this again? Could maybe that lead to something new and exciting? Another benefit is that we're using ChatGPT. So ChatGPT, it has its ups and downs, but one upside is that you could customize your prompt however you want it. So if you're a bit of a prompt engineer, then you can actually make sure to get something very specific out of a meeting transcription. And for those that are maybe beginners of ChatGPT, you could set some limits on your summary, saying, for example, give me a 3-sentence summary, instead of, if you feel like, okay, the summary usually, a whole paragraph is a bit much for me to read anyway, so maybe I just want 3 sentences. How many action points? Maybe I just want 3 most talked about action points and not all of them, and so on. So it's possible to limit how much text there is. I mean, because to be honest, this is maybe a bit handful to read if you are short on time. This is okay if you have 2 or 3 minutes to read it, but if you need only have like 20 seconds to read it, like during a meeting, then maybe you want it something even more condensed. So there is the possibility for quite some advanced prompts there. Additionally, and this is a big one actually, is that you save some time and become more focused in your meetings. So what I mean with that is that I don't need to be that meticulous anymore with my notes. I mean, I used to have this whole system. Some people have that system where they have certain boxes where they fill in certain information, and then on the side there is a summary which you fill in afterward, and so on. And others, they have preset headings in a document, and then they fill in those headings and make sure to allocate time and so on. All of that structure is kept in the meeting, but I don't need to do as much typing. And the thing is that when you're talking and typing at the same time, then you're not really, then you could listen and type at the same time. That works well, but it's difficult for you to process the information and actually come up with a response without sometimes having a bit of a break to gather your thoughts. You know, the that you can say in the middle of a meeting sometimes, after taking a few notes. Or it could be that you maybe have an intense discussion and you are so caught up in it with a lot of emotions that it's hard for you to be writing at the same time. I mean, that happens. It could be good emotions. Maybe you're super happy about something that you're saying, but after the meeting, then you're forgetting about it because you haven't written it down, right? Of course, there are workarounds, such as you could have 15-minute schedule after the meeting to take notes afterwards, but still you risk forgetting something. So nevertheless, if you keep taking notes or whatever, this could be also a complement. So my main point here is that you also get a summary automatically. And that way you can keep more focused on the discussion that you're actually having with a person. And you can trust that you will get a summary and the action list afterwards. And you don't have to kind of be afraid to lose information. That will also lead to more efficient meetings because you will have the possibility to have more things said on the agenda, because you don't have to wait for someone to catch up with note-taking. If it's you or the counterpart, it doesn't matter. I mean, the point is that you will be able to just get that summary to also help out the counterparty with what you talked about last time. So I would say that those are the 5 most important things that and most interesting things about this add-on, at least from my perspective. And as I said in the beginning, this works with any meeting tool. So you don't have to feel like, because you saw earlier maybe that I was looking at the Google Drive module in Make, but it doesn't have to be a Google meeting. It could be a Microsoft Teams meeting, or it could be a Zoom meeting or anything. As long as you have the recording and we can fetch it with API, then it's fine. So any meeting tool that you have. Good. There are a few more things that are super nice about this, which is, I mentioned earlier that you can also create contacts in the contact registry. Another thing that happens is that, for example, in my Google Meet setup, usually all my Meet recordings, they end up in a folder called My Recordings or something similar in my Drive, which is a private drive, so it's not shared with the rest of my organization, which is not ideal because it's better to be transparent and having other participants also be able to see the meeting. So when my transcription here is done, the one that you see in front of you here on my screen, what the meeting assistant does is to find the correct folder in our Google Drive structure. So it navigates to, okay, it is a client folder, it is in this region, for example, Sweden, and then it finds the exact client folder and it goes in there and it just puts the meeting where it should be, so that everyone who is involved with that specific client can see the recording afterwards. If, for example, there is some recorded screen sharing that everyone needs to feed together. And like all other add-ons, this is something that can be added on your current Monday.com system or your CRM. In theory, it could even be that these summaries appear as Google Docs or Word documents. But I mean, we all know the downside of not having a contact relationship management system. So your existing CRM will probably be needed anyway to sort the data after a while. So this is a simple add-on to add on top of that. And it goes well also with whatever other add-on you might have. So yeah, I'm using it and I'm super happy with how it works. So, okay, do we have any questions on what I told you about? I see that there was a question about, okay, which web meeting systems does it work with? And I think I answered it earlier, but it could work with Google Meet, Microsoft Teams, Zoom, or any other that, web meeting system that could also have recordings. So any of those. And don't forget that this is not only for your benefit. This is also for the benefit of your colleagues and your manager. And since we're in summer times, at least in the Northern Hemisphere now, it's also for the benefit of everyone who will be filling in for you while you're on vacation or paid time off. So make sure to use this kind of add-on to be sure that anyone else in the organization could also read up on the client if they need to fill in for you, or if you're sick or whatever. So the transparency bit is actually quite a big thing, more than you could actually know maybe from starters. Okay. I don't think that there is anything else that I wanted to bring up today. Not many questions today, which I take as a sign that people are eager to get started with using it, and I like that. So if you want to start add-on, then contact us at Omnitas Consulting, and we will make sure to help you out to adapt it to your CRM and to get started with having automatic action points and summaries in any client that you have, or any client meeting that you have. All right. So thank you very much for today.